It's a beautiful morning. I think I'll pull out the saddle and just smile. Just taking some clean, fresh air for
Smooches, everybody. Hope everybody's having a good day. It's kind of hot, but hopefully I saw that it's going to be in the 80s for the rest of the week and a little bit of rain, maybe not too much, but never thought I'd enjoy saying, it's going to be in the 80s, but yes. This week I'm going to be talking about the 1950s into the 1960s, and I was born in 1958, so I don't really have a lot of memories of the 50s, but the 50s were very, the styles and everything is still very apparent going into the 60s. Until I was like in elementary school, I could definitely see the difference coming as I went from elementary school into, I think, like when I was in 5th grade or so, is when I started to definitely see changes in the way things are. Girls got to wear pants finally to school instead of dresses, because dresses in the wintertime with knee socks didn't do a whole lot to keep your legs warm. Anyway, so the thing that I think about as far as the 1950s is definitely the glamour. You know, women wore more dresses and stockings and heels and makeup and did their hair. I remember, you know, like my mom only went to the hairdressers and they teased and put it into a big hairdo and put so much hairspray on it that I don't think it moved for a week until she went back to the hairdressers again. And boys, men, all kept their hair relatively short. A lot of them crew cuts. That was the thing. Everybody kind of dressed up with things. You didn't go outside after school until you changed your school clothes into your play clothes. Now I just don't see that much of a difference between play clothes and school clothes. When you went to school, the teachers, the men wore suits and ties and white shirts, and it didn't matter if it was hot or not. That's how they, you know, maybe they'd take off their jacket, but they'd keep that white shirt, you know, buttoned up to here with the tie. And women all wore dresses and heels and stockings. I can't imagine going back to that. I could appreciate it looking at it. I think about like my Aunt Lily. She to me reminded me of Lucille Ball because she wore her hair up like that. No matter what time of day you went to her house, she was already dressed, makeup. You know, she wore those little princess shoe type high heel where it just had a flap over the top. It was like a slipper shoe, I think they called it, with a heel, no backing on it, just, you know, toes exposed. She always painted her toenails, blah blah blah. I just loved the way Aunt Lily carried herself. My Aunt Joan was pretty fashionable too, I have to say, and she loved the big floppy hats and stuff. But actual memories through the 1950s came through shows like as a family. I mean, there's a lot of families back then. You know, we only had one TV for the most part, and there were certain shows like the Ed Sullivan Show we'd watch as a family, and it was so entertaining. There were a wide variety of acts on there. Of course, some of the popular bands would make an appearance. That's where the Beatles made their appearance. The Doors even made their appearance. Elvis Presley. Anybody that was anybody, if they wanted to be somebody, needed to go on the Ed Sullivan Show. But he also had circus acts and, you know, comedians, and, you know, so you get a definite mixture in there. Say by the 1965 of the 50s, and those kind of acts mixing in with some of the newer acts. And let's say An American Bandstand, that was another one. I mean, everybody danced back then, so, you know, we all checked them out. Saturday morning was when American Bandstand was on, and I can't remember exactly the time, but it was Saturday mornings. And, you know, even though the band's pantomime, they didn't sing live. And on Ed Sullivan, it was the same thing for the most part. But, you know, you got to see the fashions, and you got to see the latest dances, and, you know, when I was younger, both those shows were in black and white, and they definitely represented the 50s. And then you start to see, especially as color came in and stuff, that the 60s started coming in and the fashions were changing and the girls weren't doing their hair up like they used to, and boys were wearing their hair a little bit longer. And I just love that. And then my favorite show that came on that to me really showed a change in the direction we were going in was the Mod Squad with Peggy Lipton and Clarence Williams III and God, I can't remember the other guy's name. He played the character Pete on it. William Peter Cole or Michael Cole. Michael Cole. You know, they were hippies, you know, and they were undercover and they had been busted for drugs or something, you know, so it definitely kind of was representing more of the 60s coming in and stuff. And I absolutely loved that period of time. I loved the music and I loved the color. Everything was colorful. And I can even remember when I was about 9, my mom got me this corduroy emerald green guru jacket, and, you know, it was corduroy pants to match with a big medallion on the front, and I just wanted to wear that thing every day because I thought I was the coolest thing in that. And the fringe vest, I remember having a fringe vest, and I thought that was, you know, we used words like groovy and cool and far out and hippie piece cool, and, you know, I don't know. I loved the music back then. I thought it was, you know, a lot of the music was kind of very innocent, you know, and sweet, especially coming from the 50s, you know, it was like Sandra Dee, you know, and then it got a little bit harder, and, but there was just still so different than now, and that, when I'm thinking about that, I'm thinking about, you know, how much we danced to it, you know, and how much we felt it, and, you know, and sang with it, just walking down the street singing these songs. And, you know, I don't know that kids do that anymore. I mean, we used to all hang out as a neighborhood. You know, no, we didn't have computers and stuff. If you didn't want to be in the house doing chores, you were outside playing with your friends. And so, you know, we walked everywhere because we didn't have cars. My sister ended up getting a car when she was in high school because she worked and she volunteered at this mental institution thing. But so she needed a car, and she would bring us to school every once in a while. But for the most part, if we wanted to go anywhere, we walked to it. And we walked a lot, got plenty of exercise. But, you know, we always hung out together, and we always, you know, we just seem to do so much more than what I see kids doing today. I don't really know what they do. I know they're on their computers a lot, and I know that they play games together, but there's not that physical contact of just innocent play, imagination. I don't know. I'm just telling you about the 50s going into 60s, so I better all stay with that. Yeah, so as far as the, you know, once like I'll say 64, 65 came around, especially with the Beatles and stuff and the long hair. You know, in my family alone, and it seemed to be with a lot of families, there was more rebellious act between teenagers. I mean, my brother Rick got into a lot of trouble. He got kicked out of the house. He did drugs, you know, so there was that element that was new to the family unit, and people didn't know how to communicate. I say that's one big difference that's better now than then, is that, you know, the generations did not communicate well between. It was like pretty much the older generation saying, just sit there and shut up, you know. Kids were meant to be seen and not heard. So that wasn't the best thing. And one thing I've noticed as I've gotten older, you know, back then we were under the assumption from the 1950s that everybody was so well behaved, and, you know, girls didn't do certain things or anything because it was important to keep your reputation going. And but as you get older, you do start communicating with your family, and you're finding out that they weren't all that innocent back then neither. They just knew how to hide it a little bit better. So I guess that's about it. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I could say other than that about the 50s going into the 60s. And you had Woodstock and concerts and um, that sort of thing. Movies were changing a little bit. But the one thing, I guess, above everything that I do miss as far as seeing was all the glamour and although, I loved it back then because it seemed, I won't say natural, but everybody did wear, the makeup in the 60s, up to the 60s too, they really dressed up and, prior to the 50s, award shows and stuff. But now everybody's so relaxed in the way they dress and the things that, uh, I don't even see as that many people made up. So that when I do see an award show or something going on in Hollywood, now I look at it as, and especially this Botox thing, whatever, doing their lips and all that other stuff, what they feel is beautiful these days. I don't know what's going on with people, but they don't even realize you look like freaks. You look like that Mockingbird series where they're so made up, they're just creepy. So, yes, I appreciate the glamour back then. They knew how to do it, and they knew how to do it well. And, it was a way of being, and I won't say it was natural because you still were dressing up and putting the makeup on and doing stuff with your hair, but we were so used to seeing it. It just was like, beautiful. And now it's just so odd. I don't. I wish kind of it was still that way, but not the freakish way that it seems like it is today. I hope that makes sense. It's not glamorous anymore. It's just blingy, I guess. I don't know. So anyways, okay, that's the 1950s into the 1960s, the way I remember it. I'm sure there's probably other things, talk about Motown, which I think that was a biggie too, because in the 60s we did start having more interracial relationships, whether it was just friends or more than that. Mid to late 60s, you start seeing it more, and we start seeing, more performers on TV shows and things like that. And like, I love the Supremes. Our neighborhood, the girls put on a show instead of a lemonade stand. We were the Supremes. We all took turns performing the Supreme songs because they were so glamorous, and just loved their songs and stuff. So, that's definitely something that was changed from the 50s into the 60s, because even though we didn't live in a segregated area, we still didn't. I just remember, like, on the Heights, one black kid that used to hang around with us, so it's not like we were really, there was a lot of interaction going on. But by the time we got to high school, but it was also a very tense time because, people were frustrated, and I don't blame them and everything, but, I also saw things that just were cruel and mean and just not good. There were great things that happened during that time. You know, Martin Luther King, I have a speech, going to the moon. I mean, I have a dream, and going to the moon, and the type of music. And then there were awful things with assassinations of Martin Luther King and JFK, and the Vietnam War. That was another biggie. There was so much that the young people were starting to realize, oh, we're just not going to fall into place. So there was a lot of tension going on, and not only, in families, but between races too, so it wasn't all peaches and cream, but still, I liked it. Okay, I guess that's about it. So what I'm going to do is my 3-card reading. If there's something else that you would have wanted to hear about, please leave a comment, and I can mention it next time. So we'll do 3-card reading for past, present, and the future. Just keep in mind when I do this, this is for entertainment purposes only. Take it or leave it. But hopefully it helps you to think about things in your own life. Okay, I'm going to do it a little bit different today. I'm just going to make 3 piles and look at the top card of each. Okay. Okay. In the past, we have the 9 of Swords. Again, 9s to me are all about you're almost there and whatever change there is. But this card in particular, it's a very dark card in that if you don't clear certain things in your thinking, you know, we all say, why does this keep happening? Why does this keep happening? It's because people aren't letting certain things go. And they worry about every little thing. And they're trying to, you know, at one point you're just about there, you know what I mean? About doing something, making changes. And you're given every opportunity to make those changes. But you just keep falling back on the same old way of thinking about things. Swords are about the way we think and talk and when we let that negativity of certain thoughts consume us, it can make us ill. You know, it just isn't healthy for you. You have to, when you know something is getting you so wound up that you can't hardly take it, do something about it. You know, don't let it keep festering. Or, you know, if you're just, I know somebody in particular, I won't say who, but they worry about everybody else, you know, what they're doing, and they shouldn't be doing this, and they should. It's like, just, what is it your business? You know what I mean? Leave it alone. Why are you consuming yourself with other people's problems when you don't have to? Let them have their own experience, and if they do something wrong, it's up to them. It's not, you know what I mean? And they have stomach illnesses and things like that. It's like, why do you think you have stomach? Because you're taking on everybody's problems in here. You know what I mean? And you know, and then to constantly hear from that person, I know I shouldn't do that. I know. Well, a lot of good that does you if you just continue to do the same thing. So that's kind of what this card is. It's like having the ability to see now the issues that you're having of what isn't good for you, what doesn't work for you, what is holding you back from completing whatever cycle you're in or project you're working on. What is it about that just is causing so much issues within yourself that you should be able to see them, and you know it. You're saying it to yourself, oh my God, I wish I just didn't have to deal with that person anymore. Well, you don't have to really. It's your choice to, but look how it's causing you to react. Make some changes. You know what I mean? So in the past position, well, okay, I'm going to show you the middle card. The middle card is the 2 of coins. And to me, like I said, the coins are all about the physical world, whether it's money or jobs or, you know, business, home, physical things that we're experiencing in this life. And that's all about, she's looking in the mirror. It's her own reflection of, nobody can give you the answers except yourself. Just look in the mirror and, you know, look truthfully at what the issue is. And then do so. You have a choice. You can keep on with the same old, or you can let go of some of the stuff that's just crowding your life with gook. I don't know if that's a word, but look, stuff that just gets on you, you know, and just holds you down and just, you know, like cement on your feet. It's hard to get moving forward because you're carrying around all this stuff with you that you don't need to carry around. It's your choice. Do something about it. You don't like the direction it's going in. You don't like the people that you're hanging around with. You don't like the job, whatever the case may be, that you just feel like it's not working. I can feel it. I can sense it. Then, it's your choice. Either keep going in that way and shut up about it. I'm sorry I'm being so rude. Or make the changes. Recognize it. Be truthful with yourself. Because, this last week's reading seemed so good. And the Four of Cups is in the future. And that is about recognizing the things that give you fear and hold you back and, just make you sad. It's your choice. Do you want to fill your being up with the things that bring you joy, or do you want to keep going with the stuff that just brings you fear and hate and angst and all those other things? We're living in a time where there's so much energy that's out there that we recognize as being good for us or not so good for us, and it's really up to us to recognize that and do something about it. Don't wait for somebody else to try to do it for you. It doesn't work that way. You have to take responsibility for yourself. You have to make those choices yourself, because it's so much more rewarding when you actually do the work, or you actually, reward yourself with change. So that's what this is about. It's like it's just a time in your life. We're going into the age of Aquarius. That's pretty much about not letting other people dictate your life. It's about, the individual and taking responsibility for yourself and creating the physical world you want to live in. So you can keep feeding into this stuff that's not working, or you can say, I've had enough of that. Let's try this. Okay, let's see. Do we want to add this up? So 9, 2 is 11, and 4. Okay, it's about balance. And that's something I say in people, recognizing that even when the people that are around you, it needs to be balanced. You give, you don't give with the intention of receiving, but in its natural state, that's what keeps it balanced, is that the people appreciate you as well to give to you as you give to them. And, you shouldn't have to ask for people to treat you right. It should just come that way. It should naturally be that way. And even like a job, working at a job for pennies when you're working your butt off, you shouldn't have to always ask to be recognized. The people you work for should recognize you're working your butt off. Let's reward them. Let's promote them. It's a balance. Whatever you do in your life, make sure you're surrounding yourself with things that reward you when you work hard. That's what spirit does. Spirit, when it sees you're trying, it wants you to take responsibility, and it wants you to make choices that help yourself. And then when it sees that you're doing it, then you kind of see things open up, doors opening up, and changes. It's a balance act. Okay, so enough of that. So I hope that helps. It seems like a little bit of a, come on, people, but maybe we need it. All right, so let's pick a subject up for next week. I got my little box here. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, I'm trying to keep these a half an hour or so. Oh, me hitchhiking all over the place. The pros and cons of that. There's not very many pros these days, and I wouldn't recommend that to anybody, but it is something I did a lot when I was younger. So, okay, I'll talk about me hitchhiking and some of the issues that I had with that, and some of the places it took me. Okay, well, I hope you have a great week. I appreciate you. I give thanks to all of you for being present. I pray that you go forward in your day feeling more connected to all that is around you. Let the light of spirit come and shine in you, through you, and all around you. Bring that out into your communities. Try to spread that light as much as you can be. So blessed be, so be it. Thank you. Bye.